YouTube, what's going on? This is Liston 3270 with Liston Unfiltered. This video is going to be about the self-proclaimed greatest of all time, Muhammad Ali. Now, this will be his first fight after his layoff, his exile. And he was facing a very solid heavyweight, an all-time great, and Quarry. Now, it was billed as the return of the champion, and the date was October 26th, 1970. And, Ali, hadn't been able to box and was stripped of his license and, his heavyweight championship. So there was a lot of interest going into this fight. Many of Ali's fans wanted to see what he would look like with the layoff. Nobody really knew what to expect. My thing is that Jerry Quarry was a solid heavyweight, small, on the smaller side, but he had good power, very good counterpuncher, very durable for the most part. He did cut. He cut easy. A lot of scar tissue and issues of that nature as his career progressed, but was always game. He fought guys like Jimmy Ellis and Joe Frazier twice, two very good fights, and Quarry was solid. Unfortunately for Quarry, though, he can never win, the heavyweight championship. It just, maybe in another era, he would have been able to be a heavyweight champion. But the era he was in was just a little too deep for him. And it's nothing against him. But the real reason for this this video is because, Quarry was not a bad fighter. And Ali, who was gone for, I think 3.5 years with the exile, he made the fight with Quarry look so easy. So easy. I don't really think Quarry in 3 rounds landed a punch of any real note. And like I said, he's on the small side, flat-footed. Yeah, I get it, but you would think that he would have been able to do better. Now, I'm not knocking him. And maybe that speaks to the greatness of Ali, who must have had a world of pressure, on his back, considering everything that was going on. And so Ali, you could tell that the timing really wasn't there, which is totally understandable. He looked a little bit slower, but for the most part, his body had filled out. As he was before he left, he got he was on quite a roll. And he looked good considering not being able to really train and fight. And I just I'm just so surprised that he made Quarry look look like an amateur, like a world beater almost. Just it really wasn't an interesting fight. It looked more like a sparring session, if that. And it was embarrassing. Now Quarry got another chance, a rematch a few years later, And again, this time the fight went longer, but he really didn't put an effort up. I mean, well, not that he didn't put an effort, but he really wasn't competitive. And it's unfortunate because not saying that he had the skills to beat Ali, but I would think at least to be competitive and make Ali feel, uncomfortable at times. But I don't really think that is what happened in either one of those fights. But and Quarry in the first fight cut really bad. They stopped it in the third. The second fight, he was getting hit so much, he was dazed, like he was drunk. Like, at the end of the fight, they stopped it. He didn't know what was going on. That's so much Ali was hitting him. It was very unfortunate. Now, Quarry did take a bad beating, too, against Ken Norton years after that. I forget the year for that exactly, but I do remember Joe Louis was the referee, and Quarry was getting really beaten up, bad by Ken Norton. At this point, he was definitely at the downside. He was definitely on the downside of his career by then. Too many wars, lots of scar tissue, lots of cuts, lots of swelling. His skills were eroding at this point. And to think his final fight was in like 1992. How he was able to fight like that late. Considering this is the 1970s we're talking about now. I guess he would have retired and then had a fight. I'm really not too sure, actually. He must have had retired and then maybe came back for a fight or something along that nature. A lot of the fighters, they retire or they come back for money. But I remember hearing it was a bad beating that he had taken in his fight in the 90s. I don't even know who it was against. Might have to look into that. But that's it for this video. I mean, now another video I'm planning on doing is Oscar Bonavena. That would be Ali's second fight after his exile. One of my favorite fights, and I will break that down as well. But this was one of Ali's easier fights against a game Jerry Quarry. So if you like the video, please like, share, subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And until next time, I'm out.
In the 1990s, Jerry Quarry fought Tommy Morrison. He also had 3 wins and a draw earlier in that year to improve his ranking, as mentioned in the Boxing Wiki entry on Jerry Quarry. Additionally, Quarry had 2 losses to Joe Frazier and Muhammad Ali, as well as 1 each to Ken Norton, George Chuvalo, Jimmy Ellis, and Eddie Meshin. Thanks for watching.